Hello, I'm Millie, and today we're going to talk about my top 5 Chinese movies from 2023. I'm lucky enough to live in an area with a pretty large Chinese population, so a lot of the cinemas here show all the new Chinese movies as soon as they're available in Australia. My husband and I also love to go to the cinema, so we watched a lot of movies this year. I made a list with my top 5 movies and we're gonna go through them. I've decided to go from 5th to 1st, and I'm also going to give a little bit of the plot if you don't know it. So, over here I will have the movie poster, the title in English and Chinese, so you're not confused about which movie I'm talking about. Let's start with movie 5. Movie 5 on my list is Last Suspect. It tells the story of a lawyer whose daughter was kidnapped. She was then contacted and said she had to get a death row inmate off of death row in a very, very short amount of time. Apparently, this wasn't that popular in China and people didn't really like it because it's a new version of another movie from a different country. However, I really liked it. I often struggle to stay focused in films, but with this one I had no trouble at all. It was very interesting, it was fun to watch, it was fast-paced, and I loved all the little twists near the end. I actually have quite a few crime-related movies on this list, and until this year, I actually never really liked crime movies. They're not bad, but they never were something I went out of my way to watch. But this year, I have gone every time I've seen one in the cinema. I think there's a new one coming out very soon, or it's already just come out. And we're probably gonna go see that one as well. I love crime movies, especially Chinese crime movies. This year, the Chinese movies have been well above what they have been in the past. I've always liked them, but this year they've got so much better. Movie number 4 is Hidden Blade. This movie was intense. For me, it was a little difficult to keep up with because it seemed like the scenes were always changing. The people were suddenly appearing, then disappearing. I didn't get introduced to some of them. And the plot, you needed to have some kind of historical knowledge to be aware of what was going on. It's based in World War II in China's fight of resistance against Japan. And I love Chinese history, so watching this movie was like a dream come true for me. One of the things I loved most about this film actually were the costumes. I thought the costume design was very, very impressive. It was very good. The action scenes were very intense. And I think this was the second Chinese movie I watched this year, and one of the reasons why I kept going to the cinema, I loved this movie. It was so good, very intense. Lots of moments when I was just in shock. Couple of plot twists at the end. If you knew more about the history and could follow the plot more, you probably weren't surprised, but at the twist, I was so shocked. I turned to my husband and I was like, and he turned to me. I was like, so we were both very shocked. Movie number 3 on my list, No More Bets. This is also crime related. I have a type, but it was amazing. A lot of movies will have up moments and down moments. This one, no down moments. It was all intense all the way through. It tells the story of a programmer and a model who had been promised high-paying jobs in a foreign country and then got tricked into an online gambling ring. I thought this movie was very good, but at the end, there was the credit scene where they showed people who experienced this in real life. I think that made the movie so much better because before that, I hadn't actually heard of what was happening in real life. It was not something I was aware of or knowledgeable about. I think it's important to make movies that relate to current world issues. Them being entertaining is honestly a side effect, but the main focus is to educate people on what's going on. I felt entertained and educated throughout the whole movie. And once I reached the end and I saw people talking about what really happened to them, I got very, very emotional. It was an incredible film. I think everybody should watch it. and I have recommended it to all of my friends. Okay, we're getting to movie number 2 now. Very high up on the list. It is Never Say Never. This is not my normal genre of film at all. It tells the story of a former boxing champion who takes in a group of children from the countryside and gives them a new life through boxing. Wow, this movie was, I don't know. I didn't know what we were going to go watch because my husband just said, we're going to cinema, let's go. I went and it was incredible. Not normally something I'd watch. It was sports related, not my normal thing, but amazing film, so intense. I also really loved the dialect they used during the movie. It was not something I'd heard before, but I thought it was very, very, very cool. I thought it was possibly one of my favorite sounding dialects I've heard in Chinese. Loved it. And also a lot of the young actors were in their first movie or first couple of movies, and they were all adorable, so incredible, so talented, and just the cutest little things ever. Okay, my final movie of the year. Top 1 movie from 2023. It is Lost in the Stars. Okay, I'm currently actually editing this video. It's me. And I looked up Lost in the Stars release date, and apparently there was a showing December 2022. It wasn't released in the theaters until June of 2023. So technically this is a 2023 movie, but if anyone wants to say in the comments, actually, there was showings in 2022. It was released in the cinemas in China on June 22nd, 2023. So I'm counting it as a 2023 release date. Also, I watched it in China in 2023. So I'm counting this as a 2023 movie. Also, I've already edited the rest of my video and I don't want to have to refilm everything, so. Every Chinese person, I think, has seen something about this on social media, knows about it, has watched it, and if you also have watched it, you'll know how amazing it was. I'm also posting this on YouTube where I don't really have a Chinese audience, so the movie tells the story of a man who wakes up on an anniversary trip and suddenly his wife is missing. However, next to him is this strange woman who says she's his wife. However, even though he says she's not his wife, she has all the proof and it's driving him crazy. He gets some help, and I'm not gonna spoil it if you haven't seen it, but oh my gosh, it was amazing. Okay. There were a few moments when I thought I figured out the ending and then I hadn't. I watched this when I was in China, and thankfully it had English subtitles because my Chinese is not that good. But I was reading along and then plot twist after plot twist kept coming and I was in shock. It was the most incredible movie. It was fast paced. The shooting was brilliant. I thought it was quite a beautifully shot movie. There are a lot of scenes that were very intense. It was so good. There was only one thing I predicted, was that she was gonna tell him she was pregnant. I whispered to my husband. I said, I think she's pregnant. And he was like, no, that doesn't make sense. And she was. I was right, for once. But if I had to tell anyone to watch one Chinese movie this year, it would be Lost in the Stars. It was my favorite movie of the year, and I will rewatch it anytime I can get. It was the best. I'm not a movie critic or anyone who has any value for my opinions on Chinese movies, but I am somebody who watches a lot of Chinese movies, and I definitely have my favorites, and I have some that I don't like so much. I definitely have my favorite movies from this year, which are obviously the ones I just told you about. I cannot wait to see what movies are out next year. I'm very much looking forward to see what happens in the cinema, and if you have any recommendations for me for movies similar to the ones I watched or new movies coming out next year, please let me know in the comments. I will try and keep a big note of the ones I've watched in 2024, and hopefully next year I'll come back with a big video talking about all my favorites. I actually watched, I think, over 20 new Chinese movies this year, about that. So hopefully next year I can probably double that. Maybe I'll do a list of my top 10 at the end of next year. But thank you for sitting and watching this video. If you had the same opinions, if you thought the movies I liked were awful, either way, please let me know in the comments and share your opinions. Thank you and goodbye.